Hello, friends! From the very beginning, the S-Max Galaxy was equipped with a 2-liter naturally aspirated Duratec HE 145 horsepower gasoline engine, which also had an alternative flex fuel version running on E85 bioethanol. In addition, a 2.5 ST 5-cylinder petrol turbo engine was offered, originally from Volvo. Diesel versions were equipped with their own unit 1.8 TDCi Lynx with a capacity of 125 horsepower, as well as 2.0 TDCi 140 horsepower. PSA development. In 2007, a 4-cylinder gasoline aspirated 2.3 Duratec with a capacity of 160 horsepower was introduced. In the same year, new diesel versions were released. 1.8 TDCi 100 horsepower and 2.0 TDCi 115 horsepower. In July 2007, the 2.0 TDCi with 130 horsepower appeared. In 2008, 2.2 TDCi 175 horsepower was added to the range, and 2.0 TDCi with 130 horsepower was removed from the list of available products. In 2010, as part of the upgrade, new engines came in that comply with Euro 5 emission standards. Among them is a turbocharged 2.0 EcoBoost 199 horsepower and 239 horsepower. The 2.0 TDCi of the new generation began to develop 163 horsepower, and the 2.2 TDCi 200 horsepower. The 1.8 TDCi, 2.3 Duratec, and 2.5 ST have disappeared from the range. In 2011, the range of units was replenished with 1.6 EcoBoost 160 horsepower and 1.6 TDCi 115 horsepower from PSA, which replaced the weak version 1.8 TDCi. It is the diesel versions of Galaxy S-Max that are most widely used abroad. The 2.0 Duratec, 2.0 EcoBoost, and 2.3 Duratec were equipped with a chain-type timing drive, which usually does not cause problems. All other units were equipped with a timing belt drive. The main one was a 2-liter naturally aspirated unit with a Duratec HE aluminum block, which is designated as MI5 in the service documentation. It was developed jointly with Mazda and debuted under the hood of the third Mondeo. The S-Max Galaxy uses its updated version. Duratec is considered a reliable engine. Its impeccable reputation is sometimes overshadowed by increased oil consumption. In later versions of the motor, this problem practically does not arise. Very rarely, but there are problems with swirl dampers. The seats of the dampers wear out. A defect can lead to very unpleasant consequences: a complete replacement of the blockhead, pistons, and even bent connecting rods. The dampers are electrically operated, so they cannot simply be removed or replaced. However, it is often enough to install custom-made PTFE bushings in the landing sites. An extraneous sound at idle, reminiscent of the operation of a sewing machine, will inform about the problem. It is better not to delay the repair, otherwise events will develop according to the scenario outlined above. The 2.0 TDCi turbo diesel was developed by the French concern PSA and received the designation DW10 BTED. It has a belt-type timing drive and a common rail injection system with VDO Siemens piezoelectric injectors. The 2.0 TDCi complies with Euro 4 emission standards and has always been equipped with a diesel particulate filter. The most widely used 140 horsepower version of the engine. In the period from 2007 to 2008, a 130 horsepower modification was also offered, which was intended to work together with the ASIN automatic transmission. A feature of the latest modification is a significantly shorter timing belt replacement interval. One of the weak points of the 2.0 TDCi is the EGR exhaust gas recirculation system. Its valve is quickly overgrown with deposits. The engine first goes into emergency mode and then completely stops starting. The disease is accompanied by a large amount of smoke from the exhaust pipe. After 300,000 kilometers, there may be problems with the turbocharger. An update, the engine was upgraded. A 163 horsepower version of the turbo diesel appeared, and in the context of the transition to Euro 5, the compression ratio decreased from 17.9 to 16.0 to 1. This step allowed to reduce the amount of nitrogen oxide in the exhaust. The most important change is the new injection system with Delphi solenoid injectors. The latest fuel equipment turned out to be more reliable than Siemens. The modified engine was designated DW10 CTED. Ford's own 1.8 TDCi is known as the Lynx, or under the commercial name Duratec. The engine was installed before restyling in 2010. After, it was removed from the list of available, as it did not meet Euro 5 emission standards. The power unit has a cast iron head and block. Unlike older brothers, he provided Euro 4 emission standards without a particulate filter. The design of the engine dates back to the Ford Sierra, when it was equipped with Endura DI. Thanks to many years of evolution, naturally aspirated diesel has turned from an outsider into a successful turbo diesel. 1.8 TDCi was offered in two boost options, 100 and 125 horsepower. Both versions differ in fuel equipment. The weak one uses Delphi electromagnetic injectors, and the more powerful one uses VDO Siemens piezoelectric injectors. Among the disadvantages of 1.8 TDCi, significant noise and slow warm-up should be noted. However, it pays back with a higher level of reliability than the 2-liter TDCi. One reason is the simple design. Until October 2007, the engine had a pair of timing chains. The lower one actuated the common rail high-pressure pump, and the upper one drove the camshaft. There is only one here. The lower chain was then replaced with a timing belt bathed in oil. The solution is similar to that used by Ford in 1.0 EcoBoost. However, before ordering a timing kit, you should clarify what is installed on a particular instance. This can only be done by removing the timing cover. Regardless of whether a chain or belt is installed, the bundle must be replaced every 200,000 kilometers or 10 years. The small EcoBoost is based on the technical base of the Sigma series engines. So it has a camshaft belt drive and an aluminum block design. The engine surprisingly manages even a heavy S-Max Galaxy, and yet the 2-liter unit is more reliable. 1.6 EB is excessively heat-loaded and very sensitive to the slightest overheating, which inevitably ends in damage to the blockhead or cylinder block. Overheating can be caused by a water pump, a turbocharger water cooling pipe, or a heater heat exchanger. The turbo engine has good elasticity and in its characteristics resembles a 6-cylinder aspirated. Even the weaker version shows very good traction. It is based on Duratec HE, which means chain-type timing drive. Sometimes the exhaust manifold fails. It cracks and burns out, and its fragments fall into the turbine, putting it out of action. A number of owners were faced with a major overhaul of the motor due to the destruction of the piston. The main disadvantage is the high fuel consumption, usually about 12 liters. There is a more serious vulnerability, the teeth of the balance shaft. Fortunately, the disease is not endemic. Volvo's 5-cylinder engine is well known from the charged Focus ST and RS. It provides excellent dynamics, but consumes a lot of fuel, at least 11 liters. The gas distribution mechanism is driven by a toothed belt. Serious malfunctions are rare, and mostly at high mileage. For example, after 250 to 300,000 kilometers, oil consumption may increase. Replacement of valve stem seals is necessary. Some owners even had to deal with cracking of the cylinder liner. The engine runs smoothly and consumes little fuel, but S-Max and Galaxy are too heavy for him. The diesel engine is based on the DW series unit from PSA. The 175 horsepower version complies with Euro 4 emission standards, the 200 horsepower version Euro 5. As for reliability and durability, conflicting opinions arise here. Petrol versions with a 2-liter aspirated were aggregated with a 5-speed manual transmission MTX 75. The Swedish 2.5 engine, along with the 2.2 TDCi, was combined with the 6-speed M66 mechanics, also from Volvo, which proved to be not the best at Ford. 2.3 Duratec was equipped exclusively with an Aisin F21 6-speed automatic transmission. It was also offered in a pair of 2.0 TDCi. The machine is quite reliable and usually does not cause any complaints. In 2010, a 6-speed PowerShift dual-clutch automated transmission, MPS6, went to cars with the 2-liter EcoBoost and 2.0 TDCi. Ford robots are notorious. The clutch of a manual transmission runs over 200 to 250,000 kilometers. Factory silent blocks and ball bearings of the front levers are capable of driving over 150,000 kilometers. Analogs will last 50 to 100,000 kilometers. The silent blocks of the rear levers nurse over 150 to 200,000 kilometers. Factory shock absorbers also differed in enviable longevity. Front wheel bearings travel over 200 to 250,000 kilometers. They change in assembly with the hub. After 200 to 300,000 kilometers, the steering rack may knock. There were also problems with the power steering pump. The power steering fluid reservoir is generally recommended to be updated periodically, every 60 to 80,000 kilometers. After 150 to 250,000 kilometers, it is possible to change the internal CV joints. Vibration or clicks appear. Problems in the operation of electrical equipment may occur due to oxidation of the contacts of the comfort unit. Fluid from the windshield washer reservoir enters the connector through the wire. Capillary effect. In pre-styling cars older than 14 to 15 years old, the instrument panel starts to fail. The arrows stick, the radio is buggy, the onboard computer display goes out, etc. Delay in displaying the current movement parameters and changing the location. The reason is moisture penetrating the antenna. Seizing of the valve of the vacuum booster of brakes. A service action was carried out. If you know of other model malfunctions, be sure to write about it.